So this is Xiaomi 14, Xiaomi's flagship phone, but it is not the best of what Xiaomi has to offer. That would be the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. But this packs quite a punch for the price, and for the price it is $999 USD for the top variant, the 12GB RAM and 512GB storage. But this is not just a simple refresh or a minor upgrade over the Xiaomi 13. This now has a better LTPO display, faster Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 chipset and up to 512GB of storage. But what about the camera? Well, that is exactly what we'll be talking about in this video. I'm Anmol Shrestha and you're watching Take Click. So Xiaomi 14 is a compact phone with pro-level camera experience. There's an upgraded main sensor which uses the OmniVision OV-X9000 sensor. Xiaomi calls it Fusion Light 900. Likewise, there's a new 50-megapixel telephoto lens and also a 50-megapixel ultra-wide angle sensor. Likewise, on the front, on this whole punch, we have a 32-megapixel front camera. So Xiaomi 14 really managed to capture good photos from the main camera, and I'm actually quite impressed. The photos are sharp, they have wide dynamic range, the color reproduction is very accurate. Likewise, the exposure is consistent as well. I just love how the Xiaomi 14 manages to deliver flagship grade photos from the main camera. Well, in low light conditions, you'll notice that the detail is slightly lower. Like in this one, you'll notice that the foliage does not have good details, and in some photos I noticed that the exposure is a one step higher, like in this one. Also, this one has a 2x zoom mode as well, but this is simply a crop from the main sensor, so obviously photos won't have good details. You can see that the photos look a bit soft, but the overall results are quite okay. Moving on, the 3.2x telephoto camera is seriously impressive. Just look at this photo of my bike. The subject is in focus, the foreground blur is really nice, and the overall photo is impressive. So most of the time the telephoto camera captures good photos with sharp details. They look nice, the contrast is good, the color is not too saturated and not too dull either. The dynamic range is wide, really good telephoto camera. Now moving on to the ultra-wide camera, it is a bit disappointing. Well, it is not bad, but I was expecting a bit much from a flagship shooter like this one. So the ultra wide, you can see that even in daylight you'll notice slight noise on the edges, especially on the edges, and photos do look a bit soft, and also dynamic range is not as wide as the main camera, and the color is not consistent with the main camera and the telephoto camera. Well, the ultra wide photos are not bad, but it's not at the level of the main or the telephoto camera. Like I said, the ultra wide camera lacks the dynamic range, and as you can see in this photo, the objects look a bit fuzzy, and it's like there's not much details and they look a bit soft. The telephoto camera here is interesting because it can capture macro photos as well, because it has minimum focusing distance of 10 centimeters and the results are great. So as you can see in this photo, the color is really nice. Likewise, the sharpness for a macro photo is impressive, and the overall look is just so good with the contrast. And this next photo is one of my best photos, or the favorite photos I've captured from the Xiaomi 14. The color, the contrast, the overall look is just wow. Now moving on to the portrait mode, it is really good on the Xiaomi 14. The background blur is excellent and the edges look fine. Well, in some photos the edges are rough, but overall look of the portrait is really nice. Now you can capture the portraits via main camera and 3.2x telephoto lens as well, but the 3.2x looks better than the main camera. Also, there's master lens mode, which gives you various focal length modes with standard, documentary, solely bokeh, portrait and soft focus effects. Now let's move on to some low light photos. So the main camera performs really well even in low light, and most of the time it prefers not to use the night mode, because it was rarely using night mode when I was using the Xiaomi 14's main camera. And the results are good as well, because the photos are sharp, clean, detailed, the dynamic range is good, the color is consistent as well, and the overall look is nice for low light photos. So it handles highlights and light sources pretty good, the details and the shadows is nice as well, and I did not really notice much difference between auto mode and night mode. Likewise, the 2x zoom photos are not that good though, they lack sharpness and contrast. The 3.2x does good again, in almost manages to get the quality of the main camera in low light conditions. The noise is on the lower side and photos often have good details, but in this photo the phone has switched from telephoto to mainless with a crop, and that's why it has missed out on details, and this is where the dedicated night mode helped more than the other cases. Well, the night mode has managed to bring in more details, and you can turn off this option where the phone automatically switches the lenses from telephoto to main and vice versa. Now moving on to the ultra wide camera, it is only decent in low light. Well, you do not get blown out highlights and details are just good and photos look sharp enough, but I would have liked a bit sharper photos than this one. But given it is an ultra wide shooter, I think this is good enough. And just like the main camera, the difference between the auto mode and the night mode is negligible. The 32 megapixel selfie camera of the Xiaomi 14 is nice as well. The details on the face is really nice. The color tone is nice as well. It is natural, not too saturated, not too dull. Well, the color profile is a bit pale than most of the smartphones, but I do like this color profile, and the dynamic range is wide as well. So overall, the selfies of the Xiaomi 14 are impressive. So Xiaomi 14 can capture 8K 24fps videos from the main camera, and it can do 4K 60 from all other auxiliary lenses, including the selfie camera. Now coming to the actual quality of the main camera, the 4K videos from the Xiaomi 14 are really impressive. The details are really good, the dynamic range is wide, the exposure is consistent, and it retains details on the shadows as well. The color contrast is very good, the overall video is nice, and surprisingly the stabilization is really nice as well. So overall, main camera videos are impressive. Likewise, the 3.2x telephoto camera also captures good videos, 4K videos. Well, the detail might not be as good as the main camera, but the exposure level, likewise the dynamic range, it is pretty wide, and the color contrast is really nice, similar to the main camera. And even when you're panning with the telephoto camera, it is quite smooth, and the overall stabilization is nice as well. Now moving on to the ultra wide videos, the 4K videos do not look as sharp as the main camera, but given it is an ultra wide camera, the sharpness are good enough, but you will notice some noise on the outside edges. Even though the dynamic range, the exposure and the color is similar to that of the main camera, so it is good as well. And it is surprising to see that the videos from the main camera captured in low light are impressive as well. The detail is good enough, the sharpness is also fine, and one of the good thing is that it maintains the color really good, and dynamic range is wide as well. So low light videos are also good. Now let's talk about some of the camera features or different modes available on the Xiaomi 14. So first, there's a movie mode. So in movie mode, you can actually select the blur, amount of blur as well. You can adjust that, and also you can select aspect ratio, different aspect ratio, with 2.39:1 being one of the best aspect ratio for cinematic videos. And the results are actually quite good, but the sadness is that it is limited to 1080p. And there's a pro mode which is very pro. So in pro mode, you can actually capture logged videos, and you can also apply your LUTs for previews as well. So that is really nice. And also in pro video mode, you get enhanced EIS feature for steady videos. Plus, you can also adjust various audio recording settings, as it has 4 microphones all over the phone. Similarly, Xiaomi 14 also supports Dolby Vision recording, and Xiaomi highlights that the built-in video editor also supports Dolby Vision edits. Moving on, I found using the built-in Leica filters for photos very fun. I think you should use it. It does give your photos a bit different look, and if you want to directly upload your photos on Instagram or any other social media without editing, I think you definitely should use these filters. The camera UI of the HyperOS is pretty good and simple to use. So you get toggles for like authentic and vibrant color. All the toggles are available from this drop down here, where you can toggle motion tracking, tilt shift, super macro, and all the other toggles. So Xiaomi 14's cameras are actually very impressive. The overall partnership with Leica and everything just mixes up and make this phone a very good compact camera phone. So if you're looking for a very good compact camera phone that's capable of capturing good photos and capturing good videos, I think I'd go with the Xiaomi 14. Plus the selfie camera is also top notch.
Take leg.